Yo, Aquataddy in the booth with me tonight, or today, midday. I have T-Bird joining me.
Hello.
Yeah, so the point of today, right, we're kind of, we have a date set for the beginning of the new season. We have a date set for the draft. We give a quick recap of what happened this past week as the playoffs began here at GC Sports in both the B and the A groups for custom and slider. So, T-Bird, you took part in some of those races, and the action was, I mean, it was intense this week at the 2 mile tracks of Auto Club in Michigan for the B and Auto Club for the A group.
Yeah, it definitely was. There was a lot of great racing all 4 days of the week for the playoffs, and then even Sunday for the C guys also was a very nice, some very nice racing going on there.
Yeah, I mean, the C group's been putting on a great show. We're not going to focus a whole lot on them today, just because, again, playoffs are going. This is kind of a special little broadcast we're doing here. It's not something we do all the time as far as the, Saturday version of the Get Down. But tomorrow is the Super Bowl, so people probably be a little too drunk by this time tomorrow to really get anything out. So I figured, well, might as well do it here on Saturday. And quite frankly, I had nothing better to do.
Fair enough.
So let's start first. The B group, they went into action. B sliders on Monday. That's who went after it, and they started racing pretty hard. 10 people entered the playoffs, 8 remain, and looks like Monster Racing and Brinkerhoff were eliminated. No, Monster's not in the B group. Monster's in A.
Brett the Jet was eliminated.
Oh, that's right. Brett the Jet and Brinkerhoff were eliminated. Brinkerhoff, unfortunately, man, he'll actually be joining us here in a little bit, but I don't know what he's thinking. He wanted to adjust his settings, try to go a little bit faster in these playoffs, and then once they got to the race time, he couldn't handle his car, so he had to reluctantly back out. That's an unfortunate event. And Brett the Jet, honestly, he had a good finish. He just didn't get the stage points needed to really be successful in the playoff format that we have here. He entered kind of on the lower tier of it, only with just a few playoff points, and unfortunately, he got eliminated. And that's going to leave probably your dad as your points leader right now in the B group with Spanker, Hamilton, and yourself, T-Bird. You're running in fourth. The 4 guys chasing you are Memory, Lost in the Sauce, Old Guy, and Tackleberry.
Yeah, and I think these next 2 weeks forward, well, next week especially, we'll really be able to see like who's going to be able to make that final 4 for the B sliders as we head to Martinsville.
Yeah, it's going to be for sure interesting. I believe the A group actually is going to take this next week off with the clash or the duels being on Thursday. That's going to set the A customs back at least 1 week, and because of that, we're going to probably go ahead and set the A sliders back. Not 100% certain, but this week you will get to see the Martinsville racing of the B group, and 8 drivers entering Martinsville with only 6 spots remaining. Talk about excitement. I don't see how you can't be excited for something like that. And speak of the devil, the man eliminated on Monday, Brinkerhoff, has now joined the chat. Yeah, may not have been the right time for you to have joined there, bud. We started with the B group, not the C group here this week because it's playoff week. So unfortunate that you joined at that time, but yeah, that is about how it worked out. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Hey, Brink, I can hear you, but your voice is not being shared. I think it's because you're on your phone. I can hear you, but... All right. I'm just like, wait a minute. If this takes a few minutes, we're going to have a dead silence here on the podcast. To the viewers at home, sorry that I don't have a whole lot of excitement going on in the background. Not doing a whole lot today. We're just talking. So people kind of scroll through different things, different cars, different paint schemes, fast lap, stuff like that. I'm not going to do that. This is going to show all the cars in the background. It scrolls periodically instead of me giving you guys all a seizure by scrolling through the cars too fast or changing the paint schemes too fast. So we're just going to sit here on the home screen of NASCAR Heat 5 and let you see a bunch of the cars out there. Hey, thank you, Cowballs McTitty. You're right. We could not hear Brink. That's why I told him that he's unheard. But they said Turd Bird is the GOAT. So, T-Bird, you got fans out there.
Yeah, it's Dad.
Sorry. Still funny.
Okay, how about now? Am I heard now?
Give me just a second. Go ahead and speak again.
Still funny. How are we all doing tonight, guys? Happy to be at GC Sports. This is Regular House 17. Go ahead and speak again. Still funny. How are we all doing tonight, guys? Happy to be at GC Sports. This is Regular House 17. Go ahead and speak again. Still funny.
Yeah, we can hear you a little bit. It's pretty muffled and quiet, but yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Well, I'm on my phone, like I said. My headphones. So, I was really excited for the race in Michigan, and I did a little research, and I was looking at wheel settings, and I had found somebody that claimed their wheel setting a certain way. So I did some testing on it, and it seemed okay. And then, for whatever reason, I changed my steering sensitivity one click higher than I normally have it, which would have put it on a 8 scale at the end of the slider. When I did not test it, though, I just left it. And the only time I tried it the next time was when we qualified. And my initial reaction was my wheel wasn't calibrated. So I exited qualifying and restart my PlayStation in the wheel, hoping that we were going to fix it. And when the race started, it did not fix it. And that's when I remembered my steering wheel setting. And I couldn't drive it. It was absolutely fishtailing down every straightaway, loose as hell into every turn. So it was just way too sensitive for me. For anyone.
Yeah, that's I'm not gonna lie, that's unfortunate. That you know, I always tell everybody if you're gonna adjust your wheel settings, definitely make sure you get a little bit of practice. Unfortunately, in your scenario, that didn't, and you don't really think, right? So the average person doesn't think that just one click, either higher or lower, is really gonna make that big of an effect, but it does. It affects the way these vehicles handle, as just about anything will, real quickly. So, unfortunate event there for Brinkerhoff, but eliminated he becomes in the B Slider group there on Monday nights. As he's
yeah, it's really unfortunate.
I mean, the positive note though is now you and Brett the Jet, you guys get to go out there and try to play spoiler at a track like Martinsville, so that could be done easily. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We then go Tuesday night to the A Slider group. I backed out of the playoffs myself because we didn't have a broadcast team, and during the playoff time, I feel like it's definitely important that we have a broadcast going on for the top series there, right? So I took myself out of the playoffs. Monster Racing was eliminated from the playoffs. Warpig was eliminated from the playoffs, and Justin Shackett was eliminated from the playoffs, leaving Private Patton to be your points leader. Jose, Smitty, and Higgy, those are your top 4. However, Mo Power Cat, as they get ready to enter Martinsville again, probably 2 weeks from Tuesday, or 1 week from this Tuesday, 2 weeks from now, Mo Power Cat is trailing Higgy by 1 point. Both those, Higgy is trailing Smitty by 3, and Smitty's only trailing Jose by 5. So even Let Loose, who's sitting there in 6th, he's only trailing Higgy by a total of 5 points. So it's literally from 2nd to 6th. I can't tell you who are the 3 drivers that are going to be that advances as you enter a track like Martinsville.
Yeah, and especially at a track like Martinsville, where it's very driver-oriented track. One mistake and you can go spinning around, lose a whole bunch of spots, or even get some damage into the wall or something like that. I mean, it's going to be very interesting how the drivers manage each other and the track for that huge elimination race there.
Yep. Got anything to add there, Brink?
Well, he's right, and even good drivers are going to have trouble. You come in a little too low, you're focusing your rearview mirror maybe, and you hit that curve on the inside. It's going to screw you up. Going to either put you out on the wall on the exit, or it might even spin you around. So you're going to see a lot of good drivers even have some trouble.
Yeah, and you actually nailed that on the head. Super speedway style track like the Michigan and Auto Club. You mentioned the rear view mirror, and it really is a big thing because the amount of runs that these people get, right? So everybody's on normal draft except for the A custom group, and the draft, it comes flying up. Like, you get crazy runs, and you got to go somewhere with it, especially in the A group where there's damage. You can't take the chance of just bumping into the guy in front of you real hard because you'll end up with nose damage. So a lot of times you have to take those runs, and because of that, you're going to see dive bombs and crazy moves. And if you're the leader, there's nothing you can do but look in your rear view and see when those dive bombs are coming in. And if you're sitting third, fourth, and fifth in the pack, right, you got to watch the guy in front of you, make sure he's not cutting your nose off while watching the guy behind you, making sure he's not trying to get into your rear bumper, rear corner panel. So, yeah, it's real hard, and it is easy for some of the better drivers in the game to have difficulties at a track like Auto Club or Michigan. We're then going to move on to the B Customs. We had, I don't see who got eliminated, but the drivers advancing are Private Patton, Duha, Country Caliber, Jose Protege. Those are your top 4. Guardian is trailing Jose by 3 points. Street Machine is 12 points out of the top 4. Lost in the Sauce, Travis Tyson, those guys sitting on the outside looking in right now, 7th and 8th. However, don't forget, these guys still have 2 races left before the Final 4. So even Guardian, who's 3 points out, Street 12 points out of the top 4 right now. You guys have a good week at Martinsville, and you can close that gap, if not overtake them, getting ready to do one final race before the Final 4. So there's still a lot on the line for these guys.
Yeah, just gonna toot my own horn. Is Wednesday's gonna be when I'm gonna be in the booth, so that'll be a fun race to call from that perspective with that elimination situation with Guardian and Street, trying to make as much spots as possible. They're probably already off grinding for a setup or something, because they know it's gonna be a huge race for them.
Yeah, and then right, so we'll continue. We'll finish out the points aspect of the week, but we went to the final race, A Customs, on Thursday. We seen, this might be my most disappointing finish of the season. I had a hot rod. I lit a lot of laps. Mike RPM, myself, Flash 9. We were battling for the lead a whole lot. Showtime, Billy Holcomb, they were out there. Billy and Mike got into some contact. Really separated the field. It left me and Flash up front, just the two of us, and with about 6 laps to go, I figured we had a big enough lead. I wanted to race it out from there on, so I could really not try to do like a last lap pass that was going to cause problems, but try to get by him and maybe some side-by-side action. Unfortunately, coming off 2, both me and Flash got loose, and a tail whip ended up putting me in the outside retaining wall, and I've been eliminated from the playoffs with probably my best piece race car that I've had all season in the A Customs, and I got nothing to show for it, as playoffs have eliminated me. But we have Flash 9 is going to be your points leader after getting his victory. Mike RPM came home second and is sitting second in points. KB, Showtime, and Racehead position 3 and 4. Billy Holcomb 1 point out, and Sludge 5 points out, as these guys also getting ready to go to Martinsville, and we're talking 5 points separates 4th from 6th. Only 4 can make it to the final race, so going to be interesting for those guys as well.
Yeah, and you never want to count on Billy. Just don't do that ever. Simple as that.
And like I said, that's 1 point. That's to Racehead. That's 4th, right? But Racehead's only 1 point behind Showtime. So, again, same scenario. 3rd through 6th is all really close. And even Mike only has a 6 point gap over Showtime. So we have a total of 12 points from 2nd to 6th in points. Only 4 drivers get to make it to the final race. So should be pretty interesting there.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a few minutes. I have to go take care of something real quick, but I'll leave my stuff muted and stuff so it doesn't interrupt.
Yeah, you're good, bud. All right, and then Brink, we're gonna get into now that we're done with the points here for the quick weekly recap. Now we get to talk about the good stuff. Next season coming up. Big changes with GC Sports. We're kind of taking this one. Cobra Kai started doing this where they were mitigating the car count by making people qualify their way in, and something that is actually going to come into GC Sports next season. Hold on just a second. Actually, my dog's going crazy on the mailman. I'll be right back.
No problem. I'm trying to keep him entertained. Yeah, Cobra Kai, another league that Eddie and I are involved with, has gone to a qualifying format for back tracker drivers, if you will. I don't mean to call them backtrackers, but they are behind 16th in points, and the max number is 21 cars in that field. You get a winner from the Xfinity race that happens just before the Cup race, and then you get the 4 other qualifiers, 16th on back in points. So yeah, it's an interesting feature that kind of keeps the field, like you said, mitigated to a certain number of guys, and hopefully keep the racing a little more clean, or a little more.
All right.
Or a little bit more,
Sorry about that, man.
I was just trying to explain what the Kai was doing qualifying.
Right. Yeah. All right. So, did you get to basically what they were doing there? Did you finish that up?
Yeah.
All right. Well, so.
What's up, Billy?
Hey, Billy Holcomb out there on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Right. So yeah, what we're gonna do here at GC. We had 12 guys in the top series, or the A series this time. We had about 18 in the B group. That's on your roster. If you're doing the count, that's 30. Plus, we're allowing the top 12 from the C group to advance up. Doing the math, we're now at 42 drivers. We're not going to put 42 drivers on the track. That would be crazy. And quite frankly, you can't in the game. You can only max out at 38 if you're leaving a spot for a broadcast team. So all drivers are going to be drafted. The draft, by the way, will be March 6th. If you want to put it on your calendar, March 6th. That is a Sunday, about 3 Sundays away from this coming week. So, yep, March 6th will be the draft. All drivers will be on a team.
Something I wanted to ask you, and I don't mind doing it in front of everybody else, was based on that qualifying format that we have over at Cobra Kai. Maybe in GC, and it would take a little bit of research or looking into it, but maybe have a minimal qualifying time to make the race. Did I lose you? I don't hear Taddy anymore.
All right, can you hear me now?
Oh, there you are. Yeah.
All right. Sorry. So, for the duels at Daytona, we will be running duels for the top series. And so all the cars will be split at random. We're not going to qualify for that. I'm going to just randomly draw numbers and names out the hat. That will set our duels. Duel number 1 sets the inside row. Duel number 2 sets the outside row. Top 10 from each duel will automatically be advanced into the Daytona 500, if you will. And from there on out, all of the other drivers with their team are allowed to go into a lobby. This is before the 500. They are allowed to enter a lobby and do a qualifying and send me their lap times. So Brinkerhoff, you as a captain for next season, if one of your drivers did not qualify in via the dual format, you would take not just that one driver. You could take every driver in your team. I don't care, because there's no way for me to police and guarantee that nobody got a draft lap, right? So to correct the not being able to police it, I'm going to allow it to happen, but only with your team. So then you get in, both your custom drivers and your slider drivers, even if you want to, on the slider side, get into a lobby, run it. The way that the lobby will be set up is a single track at 3%. Now, people are 3% one times wear. Sorry, I needed to add that in there. Now, people are going to ask me, well, how are you going to police and make sure that people did not change the settings and they didn't put it on 4 times and pit with low fuel? Well, this is how. When you put the lobby on single track, that means you can no longer change the settings of the race. By doing that, you go in, single track, do your qualifying, get back out, send me the picture. I will then see on that picture exactly what your settings were. Because of that, as long as it says single track up in the top left, it says 3% one times wear, I can now tell that you raced exactly what you were supposed to. As well as if it's a slider group, it'll give it won't have a custom or a custom race or a custom qualify setup option at the bottom. It'll just be a slider bar. And if it's for the custom guys, obviously you'll see a custom setup. Anyways, top 10 from each duel are going to advance into the Daytona 500, and then everybody else is going to send their qualifying times in. That is going to make the field. Now, the 4 drivers off the qualifying time will be positions 21 through 24. 25th position all season will be what we're going to consider a provisional, and it's going to go based off last season's points or current season's points, right? So say Flash 9 wins the championship, but he doesn't qualify his way in. Because he's the A Series champion, he will qualify in. Now, if one A Series driver from this current season does not make the race and everybody else is B group, that A Series driver will be the guy that makes the race because he was the higher series via those points. That's how that's going to work and qualify people in. So the guys that are currently in the C group trying to qualify their way in next season, they're really going to have to qualify their way in because it's going to be hard to get a provisional.
I don't know if you had heard my earlier when your mic went out, but I was trying to say, kind of like the Cobra Kai system, but what if you set a minimum lap time?
So
guys aren't reaching a certain speed. Now maybe it doesn't work for Daytona, but for other tracks, the guys aren't reaching a minimum time. You know, maybe they don't quite. Because there is a minimum speed for most races.
Yeah, yeah, there 100%. You're right. There is, and in real life, there is a. They do it via lap time that you have to hit a certain mile per hour or speed. It's really hard to do in the sliders. I'm really going to leave that up to the fact of I feel like this qualifying format is going to lock in your all your drivers accordingly, right? 16 drivers make the playoffs at the end of the season, and after Daytona, the top 15 drivers in points every week are automatically in. So everybody else will be qualifying for 16th to 24th, and I think by doing that, again, we're talking about 40 plus eligible cars. We're sending 10, 12 people home a week, right, that aren't going to get to race. And I think that because of that, these drivers will, you're going to have to be at pace or else you're not going to make the race regardless, right? There's so many people going home. But now I want to emphasize a little bit more. If there's 42 people on the roster, we're going to give points from first to 42nd. So what I mean by that is I talked about
current cup style of points, right?
Right, and well, old school style points, right? Like, so I do 100 points for the winner and kind of work your way down by twos all the way down. So 42nd isn't going to get a whole lot of points, right? Does that make sense? However, you will still receive points. And the reason that this is going to happen, and this is huge, so even when you don't make the race, if you qualify 27th, compared to the guy that qualified 42nd, right? That's huge because if that becomes a weekly thing and then one of those guys in the top 24, 25 miss a race or you qualify into a race, it's going to really help you on the point system because, again, there's always that provisional for the highest pointed driver that did not qualify their way in. So even not making the race, after a while, if you're one of the guys that's just barely missing it, you may end up making the race on that provisional because you're the highest pointed driver.
Gotcha.
Does that
should be really exciting? You're doing it, and it's important for me to know this because I'll be the one tracking the points for you.
Right, and you know what I mean. So essentially, if you didn't make the race and 25 guys did, but the guy that finished 25th, he lagged out of the race in 2 laps, right? So he didn't get any stage points. He didn't get any. He gets 25th overall points. Even though you qualified, you were the first guy out on qualifying. You're only 2 points behind that guy, and you never even raced the race, just simply because you were next in line in the qualifying order. So I really feel like that's going to help keep people caught up. And to Denkate out there, yes, that is going to be for every race, all 30 races in the season, minus once we get to the playoffs, the top 16 qualify for the playoffs. So we will go from 15 cars locked in to 16 cars locked in at that point. So if you make the playoffs, that's a way to guarantee your way in. Now, secondary to this format, we are going to do like NASCAR. There's 30 races in the season now. I want wild cards in the playoffs. We will do a win in you're in the playoffs. So there's 20 regular season races. So technically we could end up with more than 16 drivers in the playoffs.
Oh, so you won't keep it to a 16. 17 drive winners, we're going to have 17.
All 17 drivers will race. If they win and you're in the playoffs, and you're automatically in the playoffs, with a minimum race requirement of at least 3/4 of the regular season. So 15 of the 20 races must be raced in order to be eligible, even with a win.
Okay, sounds good. I like that too. Everyone chiming in. War, extreme dirt, really hoping they all seem to like it. So.
Yeah. Actually, I want to throw it out there. Fire Slayer said Flash 9's GOAT. Thanks for tuning in. War out there, of course. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Billy likes it. Robbie, to answer your question, he asked if there's going to be an all-star race and will we be having a charity race. Answer to question number 1: yes, there will be an all-star race. That will be for any A-Series winner will be locked in to the all-star race. I plan on fielding a 30-car all-star race. Every other spot, I don't remember, a few drivers back here will remember back when it was Giggity season 3. I opened up a full week of racing that every night there was a big 50% race that drivers, anybody and their mother was welcome to race. Top 3 finishers from those races advanced. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to be top 3 finishers right now. That's going to depend on how many cars qualify in on their respective side via race wins. But the All-Star race will be the week before playoffs. After the regular season, before the playoffs, we'll take a 1-week break before the playoffs begin, and it's going to be a fun All-Star race week. So that's how we're going to get that. And then we'll also have a fan vote that goes throughout the rest of the league.
Now, I have a question for you, and it's schedule-based, and I'd like to hear anyone else chime in on this idea. You know how you throw a couple of double points races out there, right?
Yes.
So I had the notion, and how many races are you going to put onto the schedule? Do you know a number yet?
Yes, I have the schedule. There's 30 races, 20 regular season races, and 10 playoff races. What I've actually done, just so everybody, just real quick on that aspect, what we've done on the schedule. This game, NASCAR Heat 5, allows you to race tracks in the Cup Series that maybe you can't run in real life, right? So, for example, Canadian Tire is an option that you're allowed to have a league race here. Every season, I have drivers complaining to me, why'd you put this track on the schedule and not that track on the schedule? Now, if you go down the list on online multiplayer of tracks that you can race the Cup Series races at, there is 30 of them. We will race every single track that the game lets you race one time this season. And I put Daytona first, and after that, I drew every track out of the hat, and that's how we ended up with our schedule.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So one thing I was going to suggest, and obviously you don't like this idea for whatever reason, that's fine, but instead of doing double points weeks, and in an effort to make a 30-week or 31-week schedule into maybe a little shorter, is to have 2 races a couple of times per night, and do, these are 50% races, right? So do 2 25% races, and maybe put mix, like do like Auto Club in Martinsville the same night, or do Canadian Tire and Watkins Glen in the same night. And instead of doing double points, you get your double points, but you get 2 races in. And instead of going 30 weeks, we're going 25, 24.
Yeah, I see where you're going with that. This is the goal that I'm trying to do, and the reason that I went to the 30 weeks is I want to change the style. I feel like too many leagues throughout all of these league racing stuff, they do. What? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm just laughing at Robbie because I have to say feeling.
Yeah, no, Indy Roval will be on the schedule, and I hate it just as bad, Robbie. But
double points Indy Roval.
I have double points. Will not be a thing this season with GC Sports. Every race will be regular points. That was something I threw. Because if you miss a week, you're really, really in trouble with a 10 to 12 week schedule, right? That up front in all of them, you miss 1 week, you're kind of out. Double points was kind of a way to be able to make that up. Unfortunately for Fire Slayer, he missed the double points race. So, the 30 week schedule, the objective here, and this is a problem because these leagues are run well, they're run smooth, but the emphasis on a title for somebody at the end of the season. I know because I have the stat paper of who won a title so far in GC and who's won the stats prior when we were Giggity and when we were Cringe, right, before becoming GC Sports. But if I was to ask somebody else who is a champion in this league, they have no idea. So on the statistical standpoint, we're resetting everything, and I want to make that championship worthwhile, and we will be running just one season in all of 20 and 22. We will not race another season after these 30 races are over. We will not come back to you with GC Sports Racing on NASCAR until March of 2023. Therefore, putting an emphasis highly on making the playoffs and showing I am the #1 driver in my respective series for GC Sports, and you will get the recognition that a driver deserves.
Very cool. And this is all on NASCAR Heat 5. We're not changing until 2023 at the earliest.
Yeah, and that's kind of the other end of it, right? Like, so hopefully, come this fall, Ignition comes out with a game that's actually compatible with leagues, and in which case, then 2023, now you have people that are like, right? So NASCAR's always been one of those formats that every year a new game comes out. Every year a new game comes out. So by doing one championship per season, in my eyes, this championship at the end of 2022 after 30 races is going to be the one that says, I am the champion of NASCAR Heat 5 of every driver in GC Sports, right? And then when you go, hopefully Ignition has a good game next year, 2023, we're on the new Ignition game, and we can say, hey, in that year, I was the best driver on that game of every driver in GC Sports. And that says a lot because there are a lot of drivers in GC Sports. And so we're only going to do essentially one season per game. And yes, we've done more of the NASCAR Heat 5 and all that stuff, but under this new format and new direction that GC Sports going, we have not done a season like this ever. Not when we were Giggity, not when we were Cringe, not now that we're GC. This will be like not a rebrand, but a new style of racing for GC Sports and really all of league racing. Not a lot of people are doing, I run in other leagues, and other leagues do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, and I took a little bit of everything that I see that I really enjoy. I've been doing league racing now for 3.5, 4 years, right? I see what works, what's really enjoyable, what people like, what helps the quality of the racing, and I'm trying to blend it all together and make one good system out of it.
I personally like that. And when I started the league last year, I made it completely old school. We raced trucks and we did old school like Winston Cup style points, and we ran 21 races straight. We didn't have any stages, and we just made it about who's going to outlast these endurance races. So I like that. I think that's part of it. It's not just about the guy who figures out the game and can go the fastest. Who can make their equipment last? Who's going to be there at the end of these long races? Who's going to show up every week and really be the competitor that we're hoping all of you can be?
Well, right, and so here's
real quick. Robbie Racing brought up a really good point in the chat. I'm a big proponent of practice times and races, and not even just for getting better at the racing, but for getting together with the rest of your league mates. So I think it's really good to get together once a week during the middle of the week before you race the important race, just to test and get some camaraderie and hang out, and it's a good deal. So I hope Robbie and others will do that.
Yeah, I'm really glad we're talking about Robbie. Something that I've been wanting to announce here for a hot minute. He's not in the booth with me, and we haven't really discussed when I was going to announce it. Some drivers in this league may recall me and Robbie ran a league together called Sim Racing League. That was when I stepped away from Sim Racing League. It was trucks only. It was kind of the same concept as what GC was, that you're supposed to work your way up, but then the Giggity Cringe fell apart with what it was, so I came back here to take back over, and I took our Sim Racing League aspect and I put it into GC. With that said, Robbie is stepping back into the reins of being one of the lead admins, and he will help me run this league from the ground level all the way to the top level. Robbie's a right-hand man, and to everybody out there, they know Robbie is a respectful guy, and he'll tell you how it is. It's going to sound funny because he's British, but he will tell you how it is. Of course, and I'm bringing another admin group, and Brink's coming in. He's going to help me with the points and some other stuff. I got people doing my stats for me so that me and Robbie can focus more on the quality of racing that we're putting out and the quality of league racing that everybody wants to see. Secondary to that statement, I am also, as of the end of this season, actually now, right, because I'm doing the broadcast for Tuesday, so as of now, I am retiring from slider side of racing for GC Sports, and I'm going to be the broadcast team for the Top Series, aka the A Slider Series, on Tuesday nights, just to make sure that we have these guys broadcasted. They put in a lot of time and effort. They enjoy the broadcast, being able to hear their name, and so I personally will be there on Tuesday nights to be the broadcast team for the A Slider group. So I'm looking forward to it, and it'll also give me more time to put my efforts into the custom side.
Yeah, as I've finally returned from my quick break, but
23.5 minutes later.
Look, I've been here for like 15 of them, but I'm just waiting for an opening to talk. All right.
We didn't know you were back, so we weren't going to let you talk.
But anyways, I love that we have more people doing stuff. I absolutely respect the absolute, not going to say above PG-13 board on stream, but I absolutely respect Robbie as a racer and someone who knows what he's doing in terms of running a league. So I was glad to see him come aboard and add a job there. And then I didn't realize that you were doing the point spring, so that'll be good. Just spread everything out. It's always good to have people doing multiple stuff, so you can focus on. So you have a focus on what needs focus on from one person every single thing.
Yeah, and I'll put it out there. I have a spreadsheet that I have implemented in. I started it after my league, so I never got to use it for my league. But I'm putting out there, if anybody out there has a league and they need help with points, all I need is your results and your schedule. You know, give me your schedule, and then every time you have a race, just give me your results, and I will put a points together for you. Once I set this up, it's just about putting in the information. So I can do it for GC, I can do it for Cobra Kai, I can do it for anybody. So if anybody has a league out there, or you know somebody out there runs the league, and you need a little help with points, shoot me a message, and I have no problem putting in some information for you guys.
Yeah. Sorry, trying to read through these comments real quick. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect to have so many comments here in the podcast. All right. Right. So this is all what we're doing. That was what we're doing with the top series. That's on the qualifying again. March 6th, that's when the draft will be for all captains. If captain can't make it, they are able to just go through and send it via the messages on the Facebook if they can't make the actual race. But Robbie wants me to announce that during the season he will be doing, this is welcome for C drivers and the top series drivers, right? But he will be hosting, along with those practices, he'll be doing one-on-ones for like we'll call it, the Robbie's School of Racing. But he's going to show you the preferred lines at all the tracks. He himself may not be the fastest at the individual track, but everybody that knows Robbie knows that he does. He's really respectful on the track, and he does know the lines and how to run just about every track on the game. So if somebody's struggling on a given week and they want to work on something, reach out to Robbie. That's what we're here for. Is we want to improve everybody. But right, so March 6th, that's going to be the draft. March 13th. Put it down on your calendars. That's the Sunday that the C group will be returning to racing for the 2022 season. Again, keep in mind that we have yet to finish this season out, so I don't have the roster and stuff yet for next season. But yeah, March 13th, that's when we're coming for the one and only 2022 season here for GC Sports. And technically, the one that we're already running, that started in 2021, so that would not be considered the 2022 season. So just this one, getting ready to start on March 13th. So tune in definitely for those guys, and that would mean that that Tuesday and Thursday that the C group starts, so what would that be, the 15th, March 15th, that is going to be the night of the duels for the top series slider group. And then March 17th, that will be the duels for the top custom group. Everybody that doesn't qualify in, you have a 1 week with your team to get your qualifying time sent to me, so we have a qualifying order set in line for the broadcast team come race day. And then right, so it would be 1 week after that we go green for the Daytona 500 for these guys. Was my mic messing up?
It's getting a bit glitchy on my end, so.
Yeah, sounds good, man. I'm excited.
Is that better now?
Excited. The race has got a heart for us. Yeah.
You're good, excited.
Everyone's excited. Yeah, you sound good on my end.
All right, cool. War out there said he's gonna FTR. He's with FTR, obviously, him and Billy, and they're gonna promote us guys any way we can. They have a podcast starting, which I like what they're doing too. They're bringing in special guests to talk about the track that they're headed to and stuff like that. And yeah, War, if you guys ever want me up there, just give me a holler. I'm more than happy to join. The way I see it, the more we can get each other out on these podcasts, the better. That's kind of why I emphasize all the other leagues that I can. So yeah. Jose, if you can't make it on the 15th, that's actually not going to hurt you, right? Because of the sole fact of they're still qualifying your way in, so whatever team you end up getting drafted to, I'm actually glad you say this, right? So we're giving people...
That race, actually.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's fine, right? So if people can't make that qualifying format, right, for the duels, all you have to do is simply do your single car qualifying. And Jose, you're running in the, I think Jose, you're in the B group right now for the sliders. No, you're in the A group, right? So on single car qualify, if all the other A drivers make it, you're looking at being the top guy with the chance of making it in off qualifying time, or the provisional if your qualifying time doesn't work out. So that'll help. Robbie asked for the individual race format. All right, this is going to vary for the C group. Those guys are now returning to the Xfinity Series. GC is not just doing the Cup Series anymore. They're going to have Xfinity. They're running 50% races, 2 times wear, stages, cautions, the works, no damage. The A sliders and the A customs, they're going to remain the same, 50%, 2 times wear, stages, cautions, all that. The biggest difference is going to be that the A customs will be the only series that run low draft. However, both top series will have damage on, while the C group, aka the Xfinity group, will not have damage on. So that's really going to be the only difference.
Yeah,
I feel like.
Do think,
go ahead.
I do think at C group it's better to have damage off because I mean we're going to have guys like joining this league like hopefully every week, and you don't want someone that's not used to driving around someone to have the race ruined by hitting the wall hard and going like 3 laps down off of contact like that. So, but I mean once you're in like the A group, you know like how everyone races up there. They've been in the league for a while. It's going to be, and it'll promote some give and take for the racing itself as well. So.
Yeah, so actually I meant to say this earlier, but so the concept of the 30 race schedule is by trying to put in 3 or 4 seasons in a year, you tend to have a really small schedule, 12 to 15 races, right? So it's really hard if you miss a race to be able to make the playoffs and stuff like that, and that's kind of why people overlook the aspect of, oh, well, whatever, that guy, he won the championship, but it's only because I wasn't there for 2 races, right? So if you miss 5 races, like, that's your own fault, like, regardless, period, right? There's no excuses at that point. You have 20 weeks, you get a month and a half, basically, you get to take off from racing and still be eligible to make the playoffs. So that's kind of on your own aspect, right? But the other thing about 20 regular season races is every race, every lap doesn't have to be go time. This gives you time throughout the races. If you see something happen in front of you, lift, stay out of it. That its consistency is going to be what gets you there. Yes, a win locks you in, but let's be honest, we're not going to have 16 different winners. So if you only have 10 different winners, there's still 6 spots out there for the most consistent drivers without a win. So at the end of the day, that's what matters more than being up there trying to battle for a win every single week, because you just don't have to. If you have a 7th place car and all you can muster out of it is a 7th place, finish 7th. You don't need to push the issue and cause a wreck, end up in the back of the pack, and now you're taking yourself out of playoff contention. Team captains, yes, that's what the draft is for. So team captains can draft their drivers on how many. I don't know. We had 12 or 14 at one point, and I think we're down to a little bit less now. I think Billy backed out as he's got FTR, too much going on there. And Coach Matt has backed out as he's not really on the console side. So we might be at 10 teams right now. But that there will be hopefully at least 12 teams by the time we get ready to go. Brink, you back?
Yes, I am.
All right. So we'll stay on air here for about 5 more minutes, maybe 10, depending on questions, right? So, but for the most part, I feel like we nailed everything pretty good. I'm opening up real more now for the YouTube than anybody else. Who are the captains? There's a whole long list of them. Robbie, you're a captain. You're in the captain's chat. Why are you asking me who the captains are?
Yeah, and by the way, the number is 12. I just went in the Facebook chat and counted who's.
I'm not 1 though, so that might be 11. Right now, I've stepped back from being a captain and focused more on stuff.
Then it's 11. I did count.
So we have Private Patton, GTR BD, Brinkerhoff, Warpig, Denkate, probably your dad, Showtime, Flash 9, Puddin' Knievel, Robbie Racing, and T-Bird. So that's about where we're sitting at right now on captains. So 11. So I'm looking for one more captain. If anybody out there wants to be captain next season.
Jose asks, when will the schedule be released?
I have the schedule already. I just wasn't going to release it until people finish their current season. But yeah, I actually released it today to the C guys for next season. So if you want it, just get a hold of me. I have the schedule, and all series will race the same schedule. Period. No, oh, well, hey, I don't want to race that track. Can we vote against it? No. The schedule is the schedule. You don't like the track, tough. Literally every track on the schedule, every track in the game that you can race in the Cup Series is on the schedule. So there should be no complaints about where we are. And what I like the most about this is by randomizing the schedule every season like this, where we're going to race every track that they offer, what I didn't like about Jimmy Johnson's 7 title reigns, right, is I felt like the playoffs were his type of tracks, like what favored him, right? Well, this season may favor Robbie, and next season may favor T-Bird, right? Because I'm going to randomize your playoff tracks every single season. The championship track itself is going to be randomized, so there is no guarantee on where we're going to be. Heck, championship race could end up becoming a road course one of these seasons, right? And so I really like doing that, and it's not going to favor any one driver entering the playoffs on a regular basis, so we'll just have to see how it goes. Mayo Coop said you need to take a break from racing. Jose, will the winner get the chance to race in the upper league this season? Currently, the answer to that is no. However, I will give the single race winner, not the whole podium, but I will give the single race winner in the C group for their selective side the opportunity to put in a qualifying time. However, this is where it's going to be difficult. The only way he can get in is me and Robbie will join him as the or Robbie's team, something like that, whatever. I need a team that's willing to take these guys in, but that's also why we're drafting with the C guys, right? So yeah, that'll have to be how that works. Is if you make it in, you'll have to run the qualifying with your drivers, your own team, and hopefully that'll pan out and you can make it. But only the race winner has the opportunity to qualify their way in. You guys got anything?
I was just listening. I was reading down the chat.
Alright, remember you telling me to remind you of this. Have you mentioned NASCAR Fantasy yet?
No, right. So, guys out there, NASCAR mobile app. If you guys would like to join the GC Sports free NASCAR Fantasy, the season starts with the Daytona next week, right? So I put it up on the NASCAR mobile app. Any league out there, I don't care if you guys want to come join us. Just match up your knowledge of NASCAR and your picks and see who can end up number one. It's open to all. It's just a public lobby out there. So if you guys want to join that, go ahead and hop in. I think you get to pick a driver up to 10 times throughout the season, so it's kind of working your way through it. But yeah, if you want to do that, go ahead. Set broadcasters. So I'm still looking for guys. However, Tuesday I am the broadcasters. I'm stepping away from sliders. Puddin is going to be broadcasting Thursdays for the custom guys. T-Bird here is now going to cover the C sliders in the afternoon, and I was actually going to check with so Tiller and the Fueled Up guys have been doing a little bit of the C customs right now broadcasting, so I was going to see if maybe they wanted to stick with it, but yeah, realistically I'm just looking for one, maybe two more guys that could do it on a full-time basis, and that doesn't mean that they'd be doing it the actual broadcasting, but to kind of join the booth. That's about it. 10 playoff tracks. Extreme Racing wants to know what the 10 playoff tracks. So let me get to the schedule and I'll tell you the 10 playoff tracks. And actually, I'll just give you the whole schedule. I'll announce it right here. 2022 schedule goes as such. Daytona road course, race number 4. Texas Gateway, or WWT, whatever you want to call it. Homestead, Darlington, Dover, rounding up the first 10 races with Watkins Glen. Second set will be Talladega, Atlanta, Charlotte, the Oval, Indianapolis, regular, Canadian Tire, Richmond, Martinsville, Mid-Ohio, Iowa, and another road course rounding out the regular season, that is Sonoma. The playoffs, round of 16 tracks are Pocono, Road America, and Bristol. That's race 21, 22, and 23. 4 drivers will be eliminated after those 3 races. We will be down to the round of 12. That is Phoenix, Michigan, and the Indy Roval. Not only is it on the schedule, Robbie, but it's an elimination race, as 4 more drivers will be eliminated. We'll be down to 8 for New Hampshire and Auto Club. That is an elimination race. We will then be down to 6. Those 6 will race at Kansas. That will get you down to the Final 4, and Las Vegas will be your championship race next season.
The first 2 rounds of that playoffs are just pure evil.
You know, you say the first 2 rounds of it are pure evil, right? So I kind of like it, right? So Pocono is a super speedway draft, kind of sets anybody apart, right? And then if you have a few like underdog guys that maybe got a win at a road course earlier in the season, right? That's how they got their way into the playoffs possibly. You have another road course there to maybe lock them into the round of 12. And Bristol, bump and grind, elimination race, I kind of like it. Then you go to the round of 12, you have the small track of Phoenix. Right, that's a good one for drivers, right? It's usually in the playoffs anyways. Michigan is a super speedway style, anybody's game, and then again another road course driver could advance, and then you kind of start getting into more regular, playoff. But keep in mind, guys, I randomized these. This isn't. I didn't just say, hey, this is where that track should be. This track should be here. I put Daytona at number 1, and then I randomized every other track in the game, and I just pulled them out of a hat, and this is how they came out. So I kind of like how it came out.
I still don't know how Indy Roval with the most broken track limits on the entire game is going to work out for an elimination race, but I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, we will. That is probably the one race in the playoffs that I'm most concerned about is the Indy Roval. But here's the thing, right? So on a positive note is it's in a round that has 3 races in the round. So if you know you're not good at Indy Roval, maybe put a little more emphasis on Phoenix and Michigan. You know what I mean? You get a win there at Phoenix or Michigan. Keep in mind, we're going NASCAR style that if you win, you're locked in, right? So that means per round of the playoffs, if you get a win at Phoenix, Michigan, you're locked into the round of 8, so it doesn't matter what you do at the Indy Roval other than showing up.
Right.
And no off weeks, right? This is straight through. It's up to the All-Star.
Well, I'm going to say there's no off weeks. That's really going to depend on how a holiday sits. I haven't sat down and done the actual schedule with, whatever. Maybe the 4th of July randomly sits on one of these races or something like that. So we'll kind of see. But unlike this season, if one series needs to take the day off because of a holiday, that does not mean that the other series will also take that week off. So they could end up on different schedule throughout the season. But yeah, there could be a couple random off days because of holidays or something like that. But that'll be the only scenario.
All right, cool. Sounds good. It's going to be exciting.
All right, and I'm not seeing... Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited for all of it, really. And again, 40-plus drivers are eligible to be drafted. Some of those guys have already told me that they're not eligible to race, like somebody on the C Slider group that's advanced. They've already said, I can't race on Tuesday, so I'm going to stick in C. Or some of the guys that are already racing on the top series, they're like, hey, I can't race Tuesday or Thursday. I'll drop back down to C. Or some people are just going over to iRacing, right? So I say 42, that's what's eligible. We may only end up with 34. Yeah, no, Pico is actually making his return next season to GC Sports in full-time action, so that's a little bit different, right? So anyways, so there is a wide varying aspect. When I say 42 cars, that's just what's eligible. How many we have might be only 34, 35, but we're only going to start 25. So yeah, it should be intriguing. I'm pretty exciting. And again, I don't know how it's going to go. This is the best we can go. Are we having team points, or are we still doing team points this season? Jose, yes. To answer your question, yes. Team points as they sit this season. Penske has the points lead by a lot. It's kind of a landslide. These races aren't really changing anything anymore. Penske has won. Number 1, SHR, Rick Ware Racing, Joe Gibbs Racing, JTG, Ganassi, Petty, Richard Childress Racing. Free agents, what I put that as is those are the drivers that have qualified from the B group and raced in the A. They have actually done better than the Hendrick Motorsports. Of course, Hendrick only has Bro Chase. But yeah, that's how it's sitting. And team points for next season, yes. The way the draft is going to work is anybody that has a team right now via where you finish, you guys get those picks 1 through 8 or whatever in the draft, the initial draft. I'm going to randomize all the new captains, and that's just how it's going to work. And then from here on out, as new drivers come into the league, that's what the team points are for, is to decide who gets to draft those people. We're going to go NFL style with draft lotteries and stuff like that, so the worst teams actually end up with the first pick the next season. And yeah, that's where that's going to sit. Also, once the season begins, any driver that joins the league will not be drafted or eligible to be drafted or signed or anything like that. Those will be the drivers that are eligible the following season, 2023 season. All right. I already said who's racing on what night, Robbie. C Sunday, A sliders on Tuesday, A customs on Thursday. Are team trades allowed? Yes, team trades are allowed, as well as draft picks are allowed, all that type of stuff. You can trade cars even, for all I care. Jose, yes, I plan on doing a live draft on March 6th.
Extra mayo.
Huh? Extra mayo.
He said no. I said no extra.
I want to do a live draft. That's the goal. March 6th that's the date that I have set in the head for the live draft. Because there's so many drivers, it may become a 2-day event where we end up doing it on Monday also. So you may see, for example, 5 rounds done on the 6th, and then the later rounds done off air. A lot of that I do that is, I don't want to hurt people's feelings after the first 5 rounds. Now, mind you, captains must draft themselves, and they're at least, well, they don't have to draft their cars in the first 5 rounds, but you have to draft your cars as well. So if I only do 5 rounds, then everybody else, nobody hears, oh, I was the last person drafted, blah, blah, blah. Like, so I don't want to hear that. So we may only do the first 5 rounds on air, and then do a silent draft the rest of it, that, you guys, your captain will just reach out and get a hold of you. All right, 4 minutes, guys. This is definitely ending at 1 o'clock. I'm shutting this broadcast off at 1 o'clock. So from here on out, carry on with your questions. We'll answer however many we can. And hot dogs are never half off here. We actually charge 3 times as much. T-Bird, Brinkerhoff, you guys got anything left?
I think you've hit everything that we want to hit, so I don't have anything else.
Yeah, you've knocked it out of the park, man. So I'm good to go. Can't wait to draft.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's every season I get really excited, right? And the end goal is, every time you set something up, you always find, oh, this isn't working, so you have to try to find something that you can fix that with next season, but you don't want to fix in the middle, right? So this time we're trying to cover everything before we ever start. Listen, over 100 comments in a 1-hour broadcast, and we're not even putting any action on your screen. We're literally just letting cars flicker through their own paint schemes in the background of the home screen. Yes, Dad, 100%. Sorry, Spanker, but that is facts. Anyways, yeah, we're not putting anything on here, and we're getting over 100 comments and a lot of live views. So thank you guys. You're the reason that we do this. Hopefully the rest of the league will tune in and check this out. I really feel like it nailed a lot on the head. T-Bird, Brinkerhoff, thank you guys for joining me. I know I do most of the talking in these things, but it's really, really boring if you're the only person just sitting here talking to yourself.
No problem, man. Glad to be here.
Of course, man.
Alright, guys, out there in the YouTube, you got 2 minutes left. Well, probably like a minute and a half remaining, and then I'm going to be shutting this down. Get your questions in and see if there is any more. If not, then, well, thanks for being here. Man, how did I miss that? Indy Roval is one of the elimination races.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Not considering changing it, just so you know. He's just saying how interesting.
Yeah, no, it's not changing. It's staying there. But, yeah, that's interesting. Dean Cook Warpig said, thank you for that. Not in the middle of the season. GC knows how to do it. Brink, that's a chemistry thing. I don't know what we're talking about.
I think he means the mayo.
Oh. I like it. Alright, guys. Well, that's going to do it here for the GC Sports Giggity Get Down. Jose said, good stuff. Excited for the next season. Also excited for Pat and Rec the next 3 weeks this season. Honestly, listen, you got to do what you got to do, but it's playoff time. You got to do what you can to win a title. I would maybe just make the Final Four, then take them out in the finals, you know. Just kidding. I would never emphasize wrecking people, but it is Patton. I mean, that's a different stretch. So, thank you guys. Thank you to all the viewers we had. At one point, I think we had 13 live viewers, over 100 comments. Like, this was awesome. It was a success. Again, thank you, T-Bird. Thank you, Brinkerhoff. And for everyone here at GC Sports, thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you guys tomorrow night as the C Group is still racing, even though it's the Super Bowl.